Talking of Mamelodi Sundowns, you rightfully mentioned that they recently thrashed Orlando Pirates 4-1. So surely they've been beating almost everyone in as far as South African football is concerned. And they've won the league unprecedented for the past 7 years, back to back. That's unheard of. So is it safe to say Mamelodi Sundowns has definitely turned South African football into some kind of what? Kapu yasekasi. We say no, Mickey Mouse Farmers League.
In stating that they're owing 40 million, or Royal AM are owing SARS 40 million. I'm like, hey, we've got Nedbank Cup. They're supposed to play. Is it Milford FC?
Milford, yes, in the last 32 years.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there was a point where School United 2 was supposed to play the winner of the two. Still, the game did not progress.
Okay, just going back to that incident that took place way back in 2022, the Kaizer Chiefs versus Royal AM incident, where Royal AM chairman got on the pitch and started paying players hard cash on the field of play on the national TV. What is your take looking at that incident regarding the confidentiality, the respect, the dignity of the players?
It's just uncalled for me when I watched that incident. I think for me, they could have done that in private, as we've seen with some other teams where if you get to beat the big giants, you'll get an incentive, you'll get a bonus without disclosing how much it is. But what Royal AM did there was just uncalled for. And that's where I felt Mhlambe was Biselama party. So by doing that, so you don't do that. So that's why everyone, she had so many friends, Miss Mam Kids, about the team. She was just cruising with different celebrities, and now she's left alone. No one is there to assist her.
Just to recap, Mamelodi Sundowns 2024-2025 Betway Premiership. Do you tip them to walk away victorious, or Orlando Pirates still stand a chance of catching them up and topple them? Good day and a warm welcome to episode 3 of Sports Geek with Sibonelo Ngcobo. Thank you very much for the support that you've been offering us in the previous episodes. Your support, your everything, your tolerance means everything to us. Thank you very much for all that support. It definitely doesn't go unnoticed. We just cannot afford to take anything for granted. For your support is greatly appreciated. In case you haven't joined the club, you haven't joined the family, please ensure that you click that subscribe button below here. Once done, don't forget to click that share button. You've got nothing to lose, but you've got everything to gain. What is it that you have to going to gain? It is none other than the front row seat on this show, which is Sports Geek with Sibonelo Ngcobo. Why? Simply because every time we upload the content, you'll be the first one to be notified to go, oh, sekunjalo ziyakhala bakwethu, our Sports Geek with Sibonelo Ngcobo. They've just uploaded something, and you get to watch your show, so you don't have anything to lose, but rather everything to gain. So please ensure that you spread the word, make the circle bigger. Let us multiply. Ayande umndeni bakwethu, utshene nabanye, nami nomunye atshene ubhuti, atshene usisi, atshene umama, because this show, it is for everyone. It is a family show after all. It is the sports show. We're talking all the different sporting codes, your cricket, your rugby, your netball, ondibala ntoni nabethunana basho njalo lapha ya phesheya kwenciba awikhilikiti ikhona nayo amanqindi. Yonke into siyiphethe bakwethu eziyenzeka la kwi-Sports Geek with Sibonelo Ngcobo. On today's show, we start at the summit by looking at the much anticipated match that was going to take place out in Jacaranda City, capital city if you will. That is Kopitori Ngwanaka. That's where the 14 times Premiership champions in the form and shape of Mamelodi Sundowns, Kabuyelo Masandawana, Bafana Bastyle, where they were going to host the Phefeni Glamour Boys. Abafana bokuthula noxolo, abafana bakatshintsha aguluva. The big question in as far as this fixture was concerned was Kaizer Chiefs, were they also going to get their 4 goals? Why do I say that? Because remember, in the month of love, Mamelodi Sundowns, they were dishing 4 goals on everyone that they played in February. So that was the big talking point. It was not a question of was Mamelodi Sundowns going to win this encounter or not. The big talking point in this match was, was Kaizer Chiefs going to get their 4 goals as well from Mamelodi Sundowns, which I felt was a little bit harsh in as far as the Kaizer Chiefs faithfuls are concerned. The match eventually took place not at Loftus Versfeld Stadium. This time around it was held at Atteridgeville. 4-4. That's what Mamelodi Sundowns did last month rather, to almost everyone. I believe with only the exception of Skokuna or Chip, who only got mere 3 goals, but everyone got their 4 goals. Talk to us, what went down on that encounter?
In that regard, let me greet you and also all our viewers and subscribers who will be watching this wonderful show. So I think you should have you meant Marumo Gallants. That's where they managed to win by 3-1. So but
3-1, that's still too much.
And by the way, they were coming back from trailing 1-0, but they managed to cover those 3 goals.
But everyone considered 4
goals. Like your Golden Arrows 4-0, TS Galaxy 4-1. Orlando Pirates 4-1 as well.
Yes, you heard it right. Orlando Pirates 4-1.
Yes.
I'd just like to repeat that.
TS Galaxy 4-1, Orlando Pirates 4-1, Golden Arrows 4-0, as well as Kuku United 4-2. That's where, it was just 4-4, and everyone was just saying, yo, so 4-4, emote 4-4. That's why it sounded so funny when it was said by the very same Mamelodi Sundowns fans, of which, what a month they had. For me, I concluded by saying Coach Miguel Cardoso, they really deserved the Coach of the Month accolade, judging from how he was just stunning, how he was just a free scoring, meaning scoring the entire 19 goals and
in 1 month.
In 1 month, and conceding only 4. That was sheer class. In fact, 5, adding Marumo Gallants 1 goal, which they managed to bounce back. So, and it was said that Kaizer Chiefs as well, they will get 4-4. Considered that remember they lost 4-1 to SuperSport United.
Yes, just 2 weeks back.
Mamelodi Sundowns, by the way.
Yes.
So, and then they also lost against 1-0, where I felt
who's that?
Kaizer Chiefs. Before the 1-0 against Mamelodi Sundowns, they lost 4-1, and they couldn't play against Royal AM because of the issues of Royal AM, which we'll talk about. Yes. So that's where I felt, Kaizer Chiefs, they've been leaky throughout. They've been inconsistent. That's their main downfall. So, but judging from how the conceded goals was just obvious, everyone are expecting 4 goals. Some are saying even half dozen that they can get it 6 goals. So, but in that game, when I watched that game, so I was so surprised with the way they approached the game. So
who's that?
Kaizer Chiefs. They
yes.
approached the game very offensive. They got half chances where I saw Tlotli Lepo. He couldn't Lollipop, yes. His nickname Lollipop. Pule Mori as well. He got a chance where while he was trying to take the shot, there was a push from Kuliso Modao. So I don't know about that. Maybe the Sporting guys will deal with that.
For the possible penalty.
Penalty, exactly. So
excuse is right there, but I won't comment.
You see, and Moses Chabalala as well. He got a cutback where he was given a cutback, but he couldn't convert it since he ballooned the ball over the post. So that's where I felt Kaizer Chiefs, the way they're missing chances, Mamelodi Sundowns will get a chance and make sure that they punish them. But tactically, when you watch them, they just did not play their normal game. They didn't allow Mamelodi Sundowns, Kaizer Chiefs, to play their normal game. As we know, Mamelodi Sundowns, they all build from the back and then they go forward, penetrate. But it wasn't there. In fact, they surprised me by playing long balls, of which
was that Sundowns?
Mamelodi Sundowns, yes. Of which it has surprised me because of Ekrem Reyners received the ball from Aseko Tuwani, where he went on to play a cutback. There was an Edmilson Dove, whom we haven't seen him in a very long time, but he was
since April last year. Actually, that was the last time Dove last played for Kaizer Chiefs.
Exactly,
almost a year. Considering good game match now.
So like it was, he said 8 months, especially getting injured during the introduction of Nasser Nabi, the coach there. So that's where while they were going to play the friendlies in Africa, he couldn't play. He was told to come back home with Bongani Sam. So that's where Kaizer Chiefs, maybe they managed to sign Bradley Cross from Golden Arrows. So he's been shaky for me when I watched him. His performance is very questionable, where there's too many errors, and he's the only player the culprit who exposed Kaizer Chiefs when they were humiliated by SuperSport United. So, but in that game, yes, he played so well, despite the goal that was scored by Lucas Ribeiro. I think he could have done better there, where he trapped the ball and then individual brilliancy. So for me, I felt like Lucas Ribeiro Costa is just another player of the month for me. He should get a goal of the month. Look at that goal that he scored against Orlando Pirates, coming from the center of the pitch, going forward, bypassed everyone. That was sheer class, and the grass cutter and beat Sipo Chaini. So look at how next to Edmilson Dove, he picks his spot volley on the roof of the net. That was brilliant. So I think for me, when I watched him, he's a contender for Player of the Year.
Ribeiro.
As Football of the Year, Lucas Ribeiro, yes.
Who also happens to be the current leading goal scoring as far as PSL is concerned.
Definitely with 12 goals. He just grabbed his 12 goals against Kaizer Chiefs, of which his teammate as well, the striker Ikram Rinas, is currently seated on 9 goals, which is very, very interesting. So which means other players must just come to the party as well. But all in all, Mamelodi Sundowns, they just came there to grab the results, because in terms of play, I wasn't impressed as well. But they were happy of the result. But in terms of the performance, the fans were not happy. But they also credited Kaizer Chiefs that you didn't get the 4-0 trapping as well.
We just reiterated on the 4-0 trapping Kaizer Chiefs. Just to have that discussion, I mean, we're talking the mighty Glamour Boys here. We're talking mighty Kaizer Chiefs going to a game, and everyone expects Kaizer to have that nerve to say Kaizer Chiefs might as well be on the receiving end here for it. What is your take on that thing? I mean, it's not just your minor team. This is Kaizer Chiefs after all. Is that normal? Is it justifiable? That thought with Kaizer Chiefs as well. Now we've been a chance yokuthola u4-0.
Yeah, like I've said, that Kaizer Chiefs have conceded 4 goals against Mamelodi Sundowns in the Kali Knockout Cup, and you track back the likes of Polokwane City, they defeated Kaizer Chiefs 2-0, Golden Arrows 1-0, Cape Town City 1-0. They lost so many games. They drew Amazulu 2-2. So you can see that they've been conceding goals every match. That's why it was that maybe Mamelodi Sundowns will repeat it again. But then on the day, when I watched their second half performance, Kaizer Chiefs, their performance was just not pleasing because of they lacked what is called penetration, where they could have just taken an advantage of that, because Mamelodi Sundowns as well weren't going forward a lot, because the only chance that I saw from them was when Bruce Fuma made a brilliant save from Ikram Rinas, in fact a double save. So other than that, they didn't create so much, but they managed to hide the ball, looking at time frames flying there. So that's how they managed to win the game. But yeah, it worked for them.
Considering this, Kaizer Chiefs, they only lost the previous game, the last game on Saturday, by 1 goal at 2-0. Do they have something to brag about, to be excited about, that they only lost 1-0 Go Sundowns, considering that your likes of Orlando Pirates, everyone was getting were part of the 4x4 statistics. So is the celebration or the excitement from the Kaizer Chiefs fans for losing 1-0, is it justifiable? Is there something to celebrate, or lose Oksalai?
I think for me it's 2 ways, because you're celebrating 1-0 while we a heavy score, but we lost. So at the very same time, you lost another game, and losses. Already have lost 8 matches, and you are playing Magesi tomorrow, of which you're playing another difficult side who comes from a win against
Supersport
United by 8-0 there at Seshego Stadium, where I felt they also gave Kaizer Chiefs some problems in the first round, playing 2-2 draw, where Kaizer Chiefs had to dig deeper, coming down from 2-0 to bounce back. So they're going to come with a low block again. Goalkeepers like LTV's Chipazes, they always up their tempo. So
time wasting.
So you'll be encouraging the likes of Mokoni at the back to be solid, of which I think because of their playing at FNB, they need to redeem themselves. In simple terms, I'll say they are very wounded going into tomorrow's
Kaizer Chiefs.
Kaizer Chiefs, yes.
Still with you on Kaizer Chiefs. And then if we go back and check the stats, we can see that Mamelodi Sundowns have beaten Kaizer Chiefs for 3 years in a row, beating them home and away. Kai Kapakai, Mamelodi Sundowns, Itrapa Kaizer Chiefs for 3 seasons on the trot. So is it safe to say Mamelodi Sundowns has definitely made a very, very light work of Kaizer Chiefs? Looking at these stats for the past 3 seasons, because for the past 3 seasons, Kaizer Chiefs has always been on the receiving end. Mamelodi Sundowns, if we release back, why. Home and away. I mean, we're talking not to go to Sundowns, you win at home. Ibashapa go Gauteng, FNB Stadium, Ibashapa go Pitori. No answers from Kaizer Chiefs.
In simple terms, just say they're just Kaizer Chiefs who do team. So because I remember even last season that 5-1 at
FNB Stadium.
Yes,
it was round about March, if I'm not mistaken, last season.
Yeah, and then 2-1 at Lucas Moripe, another 2-1 in the MTN 8 second leg after the 1-0 draw at FNB. So, and when Arthur Zwan took over as a Kaizer Chiefs head coach, they thrashed Chiefs 4-0 at Loftus Stadium. They come and do the double 1-0 at FNB. So they've got Kaizer Chiefs numbers by far so far. So I think as last time they've just defeated Kaizer Chiefs when we were still having, Kaizer Chiefs just defeated Mamelodi Sundowns when we were still having COVID 2-1, where they had the players like Samir Nukovic scoring, playing
Oh,
Trent,
Parker and
back,
them.
where Musali Busa scored an own goal, Dumisani Zuma as well. After Sirino was still Mamelodi Sundowns player, was the only player who scored the goal, but unfortunately Sundowns lost 2-1 to Kaizer Chiefs. That was the last time Kaizer Chiefs defeated Mamelodi Sundowns, but as you rightfully said, in cup matches, in league matches, Mamelodi Sundowns all over. So they're just traumatizing Kaizer Chiefs for me, and the big Soweto Giants by the looks of things.
There you have it. It is some kind of official that Mamelodi Sundowns they do definitely dominate Kaizer Chiefs. Babashaya Soweto, Babashaya Pitor, Atteridgeville. I love us Firstfield Stadium. There is a Pretoria CPD. I Mpago Mamelodi Sundowns. The Kaizer Chiefs at any given time they will wake up, whether it's midnight, kapa in the morning. Mamelodi Sundowns. It will be Kaizer Chiefs. Talking of Mamelodi Sundowns, you rightfully mentioned that they recently thrashed Orlando Pirates 4-1. So surely they've been beating almost everyone in as far as South African football is concerned, and they've won the league. Unprecedented for the past 7 years, back to back. That's unheard of. So is it safe to say Mamelodi Sundowns has definitely turned South African football into some kind of what? Mickey Mouse Farmers League. That's the term that's been used on the street at town election with Mamelodi Sundowns. They've turned South African football to Farmers League. Surely Sundowns, their competition is out there in Africa. So as possible a global showpiece with the Club World Cup coming up, where Sundowns will also be competing in that. What's your take on that discussion, on that point of Sundowns would officially they have turned South African football to Farmers League?
Because we are always tired. Every season we keep saying Sundowns will win the league, and you look at the point gap, as they are currently leading by 18 points. So, and if they get to win against Golden Arrows on Wednesday, as they are playing Golden Arrows, then it will put much pressure to Orlando Pirates that you must beat Chippa United at Nelson Mandela Bay, of which it's just too much. Yes, Orlando Pirates do have games in hand, and so you rightfully say games in hand are not points gained. You need to play those matches, the 4 matches, firstly, then we'll get to see. But I think for Orlando Pirates, for them to make this job easy, they must just win against Mamelodi Sundowns next week Saturday, because the two teams will be clashing against one another at Orlando Stadium. But there's been news that came in that the game will definitely take place at FNB Stadium. But for me, Mamelodi Sundowns have turned that league into the Farmers League. They're just
so you concur with that discussion?
I concur with the weight, because of you just let team win the title for 7 times. What more can you ask?
There's no competition for
There's no competitions. Orlando Pirates, yes, started well. Remember, they won 7 out of 7 matches.
Yes. At some stage, they were sitting at the summit. Yes.
They were at the summit, and the coach was given the coach of the month, Jose Rivero, for that particular performance. When the only blunder that they made, Orlando Pirates, that I keep saying that you shouldn't have lost against Stellenbosch, that odd goal to nil, of which it was a sweet revenge to Stellenbosch, considering the fact that Orlando Pirates defeated them in the MTN 8 final 3-1. So that's where they made a blunder, because Mamelodi Sundowns have played Sekhukhune United a day before their encounter, a day before Pirates encounter against Stellenbosch, and they thrashed Sekhukhune United 3-0. So, and they were watching that game with keen interest that if Pirates get to drop points here, they'll definitely sit at the top. And since that day until today, they're still top of the log. So, of which, after that, Orlando Pirates started dropping points. They lost to Cape Town City 1-0. They also struggled even when to win against Cape Town City in the second round 2-1. So they also lost this past weekend 2-0 against Marumo Gallants, which they made life difficult for themselves, because you still have to play Sundowns, you're still going to play Chiefs come next month. So yeah, I think pressure will just be too much, and there's too much congestion. The coach doesn't believe in squad rotation, Jose Rivero, for Orlando Pirates. So for me, Mamelodi Sundowns will be crowned champions. So I'll just say it without
fear or prejudice.
Definitely be crowned with the Betway Premiership champions.
2024-25.
The pace that they are stretching of saying, okay, we're going to collect points come CAF Champions League against Esperance, which is Miguel Cardoso's former team, next month. We would have collected more points and make sure that Orlando Pirates catch us if we can.
You've touched a very good point, bringing Orlando Pirates into the equation. When the league started, Orlando Pirates, they definitely look like a team which could push Mamelodi Sundowns down to the wire. So there was that. Now there is a big discussion on the street, in the township, in the rural areas, everywhere in the villages, that Mamelodi Sundowns' feature are not favorable. Mamelodi Sundowns, they are playing almost every second day by the look of things. 3-4 games within 7 days. While Orlando Pirates, who tried to push Mamelodi Sundowns a little bit, but while they are relaxing, what is your take on that discussion of Orlando Pirates being favoured over Mamelodi Sundowns when it comes to fixture? Because now there is that belief with Sundowns. They're getting a raw deal in as far as the fixtures are concerned. Their players, they seem to be having a fatigue and everything because if fixture is not favourable. While Orlando Pirates, they're watching the proceedings. We're talking how many 3-4 games behind Mamelodi Sundowns. So what is your take on that discussion of Orlando Pirates being favoured over Mamelodi Sundowns when it comes to fixtures? Is Orlando Pirates getting a favour over Sundowns?
For me, I would say yes, because of I reflected back to their game against Golden Arrows where the game could not progress because of the pitch, waterlogged pitch. So, and you come from this past last week there where the Mamelodi Sundowns played alone against Coco United. Orlando Pirates were off action, of which I couldn't understand because of they are also campaigning in the CAF Champions League, of which you try and push your fixtures as soon as possible to reduce those fixtures, but then they are not playing the game as well, which I couldn't understand why didn't play, why some of their matches against Yosko United did not play as well, of which I felt that they are being favoured because of, we all know the PSL is run by their owner as well, Dr. Ivan Koza, of which I think it should have pushed Orlando Pirates to play so that when CAF Champions League comes in, then at least. But then I also do have, I've seen weaknesses with their coach. He doesn't believe in squad rotation policy.
That's Rivero.
Jose Rivero, yes. And there's also a saga of Munapule Saleng, of
Yes.
which you can see when they try to play, they are missing his services. Hence, at some point, results are not coming. It's on and off, which they need to improve on that. But at the start of the season, after they won 7 matches, their fans were saying, we are cruising nicely, we are very consistent. This league is ours. Mamelodi Sundowns, by that time, have lost against Polokwane City 1-0. That's where they're saying, it's Sundowns is fun. But this time around, they're showing us a different football at Mamelodi Sundowns.
So is it safe to say it is over for Orlando Pirates? They might as well forget about catching Mamelodi Sundowns in as far as 2024-2025 Betway Premiership season is concerned.
I wouldn't say that. I'll just say yes and no for now because they've got games in hand.
Pirates
Do have games in hand. They're still going to play Mamelodi Sundowns. And then you look at Mamelodi Sundowns, they're still going to play against some of the other tough teams, which they gives them problems. So, but let's see. But for now, yes, they still have four games in hand. But if they were played, they would have played those 4 games in hand. They will be trailing Mamelodi Sundowns by 6 points. Of which, when I check, they're still going to play Mamelodi Sundowns. We can deduct 3 points there. So if they get to beat Mamelodi Sundowns, then they're still in with an ample chance. But for now, I'll say yes and no.
But we all know that way what they say. Games in hand are definitely not points in the bag. Orlando Pirates, they should know that better. Considering what has just happened over the weekend, Orlando Pirates going down 2-0 to Marumo Gallants. So surely that confirmed exactly that the games in hand are definitely not points in the bag.
Indeed, and you check that the result that you just mentioned, Marumo Gallants. Remember, the Orlando Pirates thrashed them at Orlando Stadium 8-1.
8-1.
Of which, by that
What,
time...
what a sweet revenge by Marumo Gallants.
Definitely a sweet revenge. By that time, Dennis Manisela was put on special leave. Then there was Suraj Kavenda, who was told to take over as an interim coach. Now they just brought in a new coach there, Wado Abdeslam. So he comes in and win 2-0 against Orlando Pirates. And their players played fantastically well. I was just impressed with their goalkeeper, Gariso Mlambo. Ball handling, fantastic. You look at it, Zimtonga, there's a striker called Zimtonga. Gabatino Mango scoring against their former team, Orlando Pirates. That was marvelous to watch. They made sure that Orlando Pirates were going to play first man on the ball, of which it worked for them. At some point, they sat behind, tried to organize a low block and catch Orlando Pirates on counter, which it worked dividendly well when Talent Mbata conceded an own goal. As you know, there's always that if you are a player facing your own goals, there'll always be bound to be an own goal, of which it was just unlucky. So against Cape Town City, yes, they bounced back from 1-0 to win 2-1. This time around, they couldn't bounce back after trailing 1-0. So it's a good result to Marumo Gallants. So USA Ferrer, go back to the drawing board and make sure that you reshuffle, because I also heard he was suspended, by the way, for that encounter, following 4 yellow cards. And then Mandla Ncikazi was brought in to the interview, and there was a question that he was asked: is Munapule Saleng still Orlando Pirates? He was asked about the touchline expert in Pomaboy. Then he said, no, I can't answer that. So then that's why I didn't hear that question. That was Mandla Ncikazi's response. So then they just cut him and said, thank you so very much for your time, coach.
Still with that Monapule selling, obviously everyone is talking about it on the Matavern, Mapa, everywhere. Everyone is talking about the Monapule selling saga
Yes.
against the Orlando Pirates at the moment. What is your take the way Orlando Pirates are handling that Monapule selling thing? Because we're talking about 2-3 months now. I mean, there's no official statement from Orlando Pirates regarding the Monapule selling. So, what is your take? And as far as Orlando Pirates liaising officer is concerned, communicating with their fans, because surely our fans, Pirates, they deserve to know better what's happening with their star player, that is Monapule Saling.
Very interesting. You're taking me back to Robert Marawa, where he said that he's giving Orlando Pirates 48 hours to come with the news, to break the news about their very own attacking midfielder Monapule Saleh. But still, we didn't get the news. So, but we also had the rumors that he was unhappy with the fact that Al Ali tabulated a good offer, but unfortunately, for him to replace Pesitao at
Yes.
Al Ahly Monapule Saleh,
Yes.
but the deal didn't go on. So that's where he felt disappointed. There was a point where they were playing at home against, if I'm not mistaken, CR Belouizdad,
Yes.
where the players stood up and applauded their players for such a hard-fought performances.
Yes.
He was just seated like this without saying anything. You could tell that there's too much, as they always said, Itabadi Matlong. So he wasn't happy at all. So up until today, and funny part, Bafana were campaigning in the China African
Yes, against
League,
Egypt, yes.
against Egypt yesterday. He was in the starting lineup. He played in that match, and I questioned that. Which means maybe there's a possibility that he might not become Orlando Pirates player come next season.
So we'll be watching at that space with a keen interest that come and next season will Monapule Saleng still be campaigning for his current employers in the form and shape of Orlando Pirates as Gamakepule Zakepula Umshaba Gamaspala Zaushia Umapeke Dwan. Now we're still with the Betway Premiership news. There is an elephant in the room that everybody knows, has got something to say about it, but everyone is scared to talk about it. So we might as well try to be some kind of the trendsetters and attack this elephant in the room. Royal AM saga versus SARS versus PSL. It is chaos. It is madness. Rally M, they've thrown PSL fixtures into chaos. Nedbank Cup was not spared as well. It's been a mess what Royal AM has put PSL in, considering their fight with their dispute, whatever you want to call it, with SARS. What is your take on that matter? Maybe firstly, how did we get here?
Hey, definitely, how did we get here? It's a good question for me. Where, remember, I'll take you back to, I think it was 2022, where they played Kaizer Chiefs.
Was that Royal AM?
Royal AM, yes. They played Kaizer Chiefs, they thrashed Kaizer Chiefs 4-1. So that's where
Go
we
FNB
saw
Stadium.
at FNB Stadium.
Yes.
I remember, is it Victor Letswalo scored a
Yes.
brace in that game. There was an on goal from Sibusiso Mabiliso. Mfunde Tikas scored the fourth goal there as he sent Kaizer Chiefs deeper into the final, leaving the coffin there, where Fiso Atlantis scored the consolation goal for Kaizer Chiefs. And when I looked into that, in fact, they did the double over Kaizer Chiefs last season as they won 1-0
Royal
in
AM.
the second round, the same Royal AM I'm talking about. So that's where after that 4-1 thrashing of Kaizer Chiefs, they managed to issue out money in front of the fans in public on the pitch. That's where, like, it was just unprofessional for me when I saw that. And that's where I think the problem started for them. You see, this season currently, they've already played how many games? 11 games. They started playing draws, and then after they won 1 or 2 games, and things fell apart. And that's where SARS came into the picture of the fact that they've intervened in the issue of Royal EM. So at some point I felt, okay, they've resolved their financial issues. Then they were supposed to play Orlando Pirates. The game was cancelled. I'm like, oh, they did say that they managed to resolve their issues. Then at some point, then news broke in again, stating that they're owing 40 million. Orlando Royal AM are owing SARS 40 million. I'm like, hey, we've got Nedbank Cup. They're supposed to play, is it Milford FC?
Milford, yes,
The game
in
did
the
not
last
take
32
place,
years. Yeah.
exactly. And then there was a point where School United were supposed to play the winner of the two. Still, the game did not progress.
That's Nedbank Cup.
That Nedbank Cup. And then last week when we set up, we got the news that Royal AM has been excused.
Put it out of the
out of
Nedbank.
the Nedbank Cup. That's where at least I felt, oh, then life
PSL
becomes
is
easy.
eventually doing something
Yeah, it's
about
doing
it.
something because of you can't play while the other fixture is just standing. It's just not doing so well there. So then there was a point where, okay, they're supposed to play, Milford is supposed to play Skoko United, of which the game took place yesterday, and Skoko United managed to win 2-1. So, which means they'll meet Mamelodi Sundowns again, the team that thrashed them 4-2. So, let's wait and see this coming weekend, because Nedbank Cup will be taking place on Saturday from 3 o'clock. Orlando Pirates against SuperSport United, Kaizer Chiefs against Stellenbosch at 6 o'clock, and then later on is Durban City up against Marumo Gallants. I think, in fact, Sundowns up against Skoko United, then Durban City Marumo Gallants will play on Sunday. Then definitely after that particular encounter, there will be the draw for the semi-finals. So for me, Royal AM, they've just complicated matters worse, and as you rightfully said, they've just also complicated the league. So are we playing 29 games all together? Why PSL can't they announce the official announcement that the team has been expelled from the Betway Premiership? So which made things complicated, because of when the fixture is released, every time you see Royal AM versus whoever, then the game is postponed. Why can't they take action? So I'm thinking
because the PSL.
PSL, yes.
Action like what? Putting them out of the league.
Out of the PSL, we remain with 15 matches and
15 teams.
Teams, I should say. And then the team that finishes 15 will definitely go for playoffs. So that's how I'm thinking. And I once had a conversation with Kevin Evans, the English commentator at SuperSport, stating that PSL might go to a route where they deduct the points from all the teams that managed to draw and win against Royal AM. Just to excuse them out of the PSL. As you currently see, fans are saying, yeah, no, we'll get 6 points. I'm like, no, 3 points, yeah, 7 zela. You can't not just get 3 points for free. So I think they might go to that route that Kevin Evans has explained, by deducting all the points that they got against some of the teams that lost the wins. So yeah, that's how I think they'll definitely go to that route.
Okay, just going back to that incident that took place way back in 2022, the Kaizer Chiefs versus Royal AM incident, where Royal AM chairman got on the pitch and started paying players hard cash on the field of play on the national TV. What is your take looking at that incident regarding the confidentiality, the respect, the dignity of the players, so as they are safety? Because, I mean, we know the bonuses these days of the players, they're not anything less than 10,000. You're talking 10, 15, up to 20,000 the bonuses per game, especially if you're playing against your Kaizer Chiefs, your Pirates, your Mamelodi Sundowns. So minimum, each player got 15,000 live on television. The safety, kokas, ba me saying that Robo utola 15,000.
Yes.
Machita ayagmele stopping out for I mean, your dignity. The dignity and everything, constantly we saw the players Bashai Q Lapan getting those bonuses. Talk to us about that safety aspect, so as the dignity aspect, considering that even your pay slip where you are working, your pay slip is written in English and Afrikaans, with confidential Afrikaans for throw leg. Talk to us about that human aspect, the dignity and safety of the players regarding that incident. Royal AM dishing the hardcore cash more on the field of play on the national TV.
It was just uncalled for me when I watched that incident. I think for me, they could have done that in private, as we've seen with some other teams, where if you get to beat the big giants, you'll get an incentive, you'll get a bonus, without disclosing how much it is. But what Royal AM did there was just uncalled for. And that's where I felt Mhlambe was Biselama party. So by doing that, so you don't do that. So that's why everyone, she had so many friends, Miss Mamkize, about the team. She was just cruising with different celebrities, and now she's left alone. No one is there to assist her. So I think she could have done things in private. So remember, they also had the saga of Sinki Mnisi, Cabo Zondo coming in. Yes. He was also released. So many things happened in that team, of which I felt they were so unprofessional. And with the issue of how they handle the financial issues on the pitch, very unprofessional. For going forward, I hope she learned a lesson, and she must just make sure that she handles things professionally. And as we had also that Bloemfontein Celtic were interested in the shares, so they also spoke with her at first that come to Bloemfontein, we'll assist you, and then also maybe if there are possibilities, change the team to Bloemfontein Celtic. So, but she didn't do that. In fact, she was just aggressive and then stuck with the team they called Royal EM. So, unfortunately, that was uncalled for me.
Our studio guest is definitely not happy with the Royal AM level of professionalism. Still with the Royal AM level of professionalism. Yes, just I like to look at that issue of dishing cash on the field of play live on national TV, and then look at the other side with the very same Royal AM owes some players. We're talking about millions of rands.
True.
We're talking about your Samir Enokovic, your Nascimento. They've taken the very same Real AM all the way here to Sweden, to FIFA headquarters. So looking at that, Mamen Real AM owing players so much millions of rand, and on the other side, flaunting cash on national TV. What can you say about that?
Yeah, very complicated, because I remember when Ricardo Nascimento, and currently he's just retired, it did announce his retirement. Samir Nokovic as well, his lawyer stating that he's taking the matter to FIFA. So I don't know what's the progression currently, because Mamukiza, for me, she looked like she was just aggressive or stubborn to pay the player. So it's very, very complicated so far. So let's see if the news will break in. So, but yes, incident reminded me of, remember Riyadh Stars in 2002, where they had financial issues and they were forced to be excused by offering them, I don't know if it was Dynamos or whoever, money for, as we had 18 teams and they were reduced to 16 teams. So the incident reminded me of Cecilia Dwaba's incident as well. So that's where she lost Riyadh Stars, where it was just doing wonders in Limpopo. So hopefully she learned the lesson as well.
As we wrap up the Betway Premiership discussion, just to recap, Mamelodi Sundowns 2024-2025 Betway Premiership, do you tip them to walk away victorious, or Orlando Pirates still stand a chance of catching them up and topple them?
For me, I'll go with Mamelodi Sundowns. Like I've said, after Orlando Pirates were still top of the log, that Mamelodi Sundowns will win the Betway Premiership. Although majority were against me, so I tried to state facts. They're a well-structured team. They've got depth. They believe in squad rotation. It's working wonders for them. Although they lost against TS Galaxy and Polokwane City both by odd goals, but you could see that that loss against TS Galaxy was just a wake-up call. So that's why they came in and thrashed them 4-1. Which was a sweet revenge at Lucas Muripe, where the likes of Peter Shalulile, Ekhram Reynas, Lucas Ribeiro Costa were on song. So for me, I tip Mamelodi Sundowns. Orlando Pirates might struggle because of lack of squad rotation, too much congestion of fixtures that are coming. Nedbank Cup, Betway Premiership, and CAF Champions League against MC Alger, which is taking place next month. So I'll tip Mamelodi Sundowns for that, because of it's just working for them, the squad rotation policy and the way they are well structured, and how Miguel Cardoso have brought in confidence. Although majority were criticizing him, were not convinced about this appointment. So for that, I'll say Flemingbeck, the sporting director for Mamelodi Sundowns, really deserved credit.
PSL versus Royal AM. You suggest that PSL should just boot Royal AM out of the league.
Yeah, PSL should just boost Royal AM out of the league and also deduct points from all the teams that they got the wins and draws against them.
There you have it, South Africa. Our guest in the form and shape of Madiba Peter predicts that the 2024-2025 Betway Premiership League will go to none other than the 14 times champions in the form and shape of Mamelodi Sundowns. Kabuyelo Masandawana o Macapuna Kusale Bafana Bastyle Bafana Bagamotsipe, that how his predictions are going. It doesn't give Orlando Pirates any chance of catching or toppling Mamelodi Sundowns. In the PSL versus Royal AM, Twitli Twatla, he suggests that PSL should Twitli Twatla Royal AM out of the Betway Premiership because definitely they've brought the league into disrepute. They're definitely holding the PSL to ransom by the look of things. The Nedbank Cup was also not spayed. Still with football, but this time around, let's go elsewhere. Let's go to England. Jamie Carragher, the former Liverpool defender, he made some bad comments about African football. Enyatsa lapana African football ethatha njenge Mickey Mouse. I'm sure every corner kukhulunywa ngalo incident la khona uJamie Carragher ekhombise khona ukuthi he does not have any respect for Africa and football at large. We're talking Africa Cup of Nations. For the benefit of our viewers who don't know exactly what happened, what is that discussion all about as far as Jamie Carragher is concerned versus Africa Cup of Nations? I don't know if Motiba, you mind sharing that discussion, that incident, exactly what happened?
He was not happy about Salah stating that Mohamed Salah doesn't deserve the Ballon d'Or award.
Mohamed Salah, who's the Liverpool talisman,
yes. So of which I was so surprised. I'm like, remember we had Ronan Williams, who was also a nominee and he also did not get the award. So for me, when I listened to his utterances, I felt that he sounded a bit racist, so myopic as well. So for me, I think he also must come and apologize to CAF or FIFA as well. So his comments were just out of order for me. And let's wait and see, because of, remember in the past we also had Oscar Masuluke win
Yes.
that Pushka, but he didn't win that. So which means he's undermining African players, of which I didn't understand those comments.
You did not understand those comments. African players, they've been experiencing a lot of racism in Europe. Go Spain, we have seen go Real Madrid, above Vinicius Junior, Baposelwa banana, being treated as some kind of monkeys. So you went on and made a very strong statement and said you strongly feel that's an element of racism by Ulokos Okaraka. Does that surprise you, or does that automatically confirm to you, Guti, this alleged racism, it's not necessarily because African players are being crybabies. Racism is alive in as far as European football versus African football.
Definitely, it's been there forever. So I don't know why is it that kind of behavior, because of if I can just bring in our very own previous president, the late Dr. Nelson Mandela. He tried to reunite us with the different racial community. So but then some of them, they're still with that, they still have that old mindset. So for me, it was just uncalled for. Those players, African players, they also did have to be nominated and be accredited for those wonderful performances they've dished out on the field of play.
If you were to ask me regarding those comments that were made by Jamie Carragher, I will definitely agree with what my co-pilot in the form and shape of Modiba Peter has just said, that surely there was an element of racism. I'll go on and add an element of irresponsible, negligent, ungabi informed of Jamie Carragher. Why do I say that? Just go back to 1998 or 1995, if I'm not mistaken. That's when the African player won the very same Ballon d'Or in the form and shape of George Weah. He's from Liberia. Yes, he was campaigning for the Italian team at that time. That is AC Milan. He won the Ballon d'Or. So for Jamie Carragher to come and say Africa Cup of Nations, he regards it as a minor tournament, it doesn't have weight. So for me, I'll say that I'm tempted to use the word an element of stupidity, but I won't use that. I didn't use that. I would say ignorance and definitely racism by Jamie Carragher. So Jamie Carragher, if I were to advise you, I'll just say go and check your archives and see if there isn't any African player who ever won the Ballon d'Or. So for him to come out and say, whether no matter what the Egyptian and the Liverpool star player in the form and shape of Mohamed Salah, no matter what he does, there is no way that he will win Ballon d'Or. Surely that statement was completely irresponsible and definitely not accepted. And there should be no room for such utterances. Yes. And like you rightfully mentioned, that Jamie Carragher surely should be taken into task. Personally, I strongly believe that Africa Cup of Nations should take him to task, demand a public apology from him, because I mean, we're talking Africa Cup of Nations, we're talking how many? 54 countries. African countries that participate in the Africa Cup of Nations. For just one person to come and downgrade the Africa Cup of Nations, where 54 countries participate in that tournament. So surely that should not be tolerated. Jamie Carragher should definitely be taken to task. Let's hope about Patrice Motsepe as the president, careful, they will not let this slide.
Definitely. So hopefully maybe he will dish out a public apology, because of this is very sensitive, and the majority of analysts were not happy with his comments. Definitely.
Sports Geek with Spanelo Ngcobo is definitely not happy at all with those utterances. Now, stepping away from football and dive straight to cricket, it is happening out in Asia, in Pakistan, to be exact. That's where the 2025 ICC Champions Trophy is currently underway. And South Africa are represented by none other than Proteas, led by Themba Bavuma, assisted by Laphana Insizwa, another batsman in the form and shape of AJ Aiden Markram. We saw South Africa participating, actually rehearsing by participating in that Tri Nations tournament, which was also hosted out in France. I believe they took on the likes of your New Zealand, so as the host Pakistan. Unfortunately, South Africa did not do well. They did not reach the final. We saw South Africa losing to Pakistan, so as New Zealand, of which New Zealand, they were the eventual winners of that rehearsal tournament, the Tri Nations, for the big stage, which is the 2025 ICC Champions Trophy. Champions Trophy eventually got underway. South Africa took on Afghanistan and Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So as New Zealand, England rather, not New Zealand. Talk to us. How did things go in as far as the Proteas are concerned in this year's ICC Champions Trophy is concerned?
We did so well. Remember, we played against Afghanistan. We thrashed them heavily.
Yes, in the opening game.
Opening match. So I was so impressed because remember at first I was questioning the decision of Rob Walters, our coach, that how do you omit David Brieske, who scored 150.
Matthew Brieske.
Matthew Brieske, I'm
Yes.
busy with David.
Yeah,
Matthew Brieske, who scored 150 runs in that Tri Nations. So then, yes, we played there without the likes of Hendrik Klaassen.
Yeah.
So as the matches progressed, so Rassie van der Dussen came to the party. So which impressed me. He scored runs as well, 98 runs if I remember very well. Hendrik Klaassen 64 runs. So we couldn't play against Australia as the game was hushed out due to a rain taking place. So we managed to
Which was a good thing.
It was a good thing because hey, you see, and we managed to also avoid them for the semi-final qualification.
Yes.
Of which, if we get to play them in the final, definitely maybe something will come up. So, but I don't want a situation whereby there's a champion and a deputy champion due to weather. So I just hope the weather will behave going into the final, as you so rightfully spoken. So we did so well. We qualified, and then we are playing
qualified for the semis.
The semi-finals. We're playing New Zealand tomorrow. So of which we just need to win. So this thing of choking must just be packed aside. So as you rightfully said, as while we're having a conversation of India's playing Australia
right now. Yeah, the
right
game
now.
is on right now.
So the game is right now. Hopefully, whoever wins will definitely meet us. But I'm fencing India might surprise Australia. As you know, it's a crash game considering what happens in the previous ODI last year. So with us, we must just make sure that the players are Rassie van der Dussen, Lungin Kitu also had 100 wickets. I was so impressed. Comes to the party. I'm still waiting to see Kagiso Rabada because of he wasn't part of the players who are bowling as well as batting. So this time around, hopefully, he will get a start and we make sure that we seal it against New Zealand and go all the way to the final.
Looking at the Australia India game, surely should we win our game against the New Zealand, we will play one of the guys, either India or Australia. You as a South African, whom would you like to meet in the final and why?
Firstly, I'm looking at Australia. We couldn't play them.
Aggressive Australia, can you add that?
So
aggressive Australia.
Due to rain, aggressive Australia, as you know, they always brings it when it matters most. But I will fancy India because of I'm still having that clutch game of a T20
final last year.
They shocked us, where I felt
where they beat us in
they're
the
running
T20
out of
final.
ideas, and we surprised them. But when they introduced the Virat Kohli, then they surprised us. So I think India for me, that's one I'm fancy because of previously they played Australia and they thrashed them. I was like, they're dishing out rugby cricket lessons at Australia. So for me, I'll opt in India.
So you will be comfortable with India?
With India at their own backyard. Although
that's the point I was going to bring. That mind you, that India, they refused to go and play in Pakistan.
Yes.
So they are based in Dubai.
Yeah.
So they're staying in one hotel. They're playing in one field. So that field has become as their home ground and home ground advantage. Their fans, they know exactly where will their team be playing. So meaning the Indian fans, they've booked in those hotels. So they're playing. It's like India. They're having a home tournament away from home.
Yes.
So for you to say you will prefer to meet India, don't you think there is a little bit suicidal?
In terms
considering the advantages that India are enjoying in this tournament
playing
currently.
at home as well with the fans picking the venue there.
Yes.
Karachi, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
so I think we can do it. We've done it before. It's just we just choked where it matters most. Every time we always choke in the final, but this time around we must just go all the way. So with India, yes, we always say that cricket is just not sport but religion.
Religion
So,
in
but we
India,
do
yes.
stand a chance. I think this is a high time because of when I watch the players, they are just confident. Although I was worried during the Tri Nations when we lost those 2 matches against New Zealand and Pakistan that we will struggle. And missing the Matthew Briske due to omission, of which he did so well in his debut match. So that was suicidal for me, but at least this time around he managed to win the matches. He's Rob Walter, so hopefully he will get something. So, but I'm trusting Mr. Rasif and Rudison, our captain Themba Bavuma has just tremendously improved, of which in the past we used to question his performance on the pitch, and his behavior off the pitch was just questionable, and it affected his performance. For me, I'll fancy India. So, crowd or no crowd, I think we can do it.
There you have it, South Africa, our guest in the foremanship of Mothiba Peta. Definitely fancy South Africa's chances, Proteas chances in 2020-25 ICC Champions Trophy that they might just bring it home. But considering that for the past 6 months, we reached the T20 Cricket World Cup finals.
Yes.
2024, we reached the semi-finals of the ODI Cricket World Cup. So what are those? Those are Abo Amper Marnis Tamper incidents. You also touched in on the C word, the choking word. Should we choke this time around yet again? My question is, should Themba Bavuma and Rob Walters keep their jobs? Themba Bavuma, the captains, and Rob Walters, the coaching job, or should they be shown the door? Or will we say it's all in progress, they must remain at the helm and lead Proteas?
I think for me, they must just be given one last chance. Should we lose this particular... So, but yeah, he's trying to all the way, all the time. So, but where it matters most, he chokes. But I think as a country, we're hungry. Although we have won this, if you can just notify the listeners there and the viewers that we've won this particular trophy in 1998.
Yeah,
so let's just
inception, yes.
You see, let's just bring back that inception because it's been a long. I think close to 30 years there.
Yeah.
So, it's been
28 or 27 years.
Yes. So at least we try and win it for the sake of the country. As you know, the Springboks are doing well. They then ball quiz also our Proteas ladies there. So we must just make sure that we follow in the footsteps of the Springboks, because they always put the smiles in our face by winning the World Cup. But this time around, we must just do it for the sake of the country. It's been long. Although India, they've won this occasion last in 2013, of which I see the defending champions have bowed out Pakistan.
Yes.
We won in 2017. This is our chance at least to try and make sure that come New Zealand, we slap them, and then India follows. Although it's not going to be easy.
It is not going to be easy. Should we experience another Amper Marnis Tamper incident, choking Proteas as they are notoriously known? Our my co-pilot in the form and shape of Mothiba Peta, he says, do not be trigger happy. Do not fire Rob Walters. Do not drop Themba Bavuma. Give the boys another chance. Give the boys another benefit of the doubt. Give the boys the support that they need. Eventually, just one day, ngelinye ilanga ucilo othuka ezishaya endukwini laphana, and the Proteas might just eventually bring the Cricket World Cup or Champions Trophy home yet again. Now, stepping away from cricket, straight to rugby. Vodacom United Rugby Championship is still very much with us, and things are taking shape in as far as the knockout stages are concerned, in as far as the top 8 bracket is concerned. What I would like to know first, let's just go back and look at what went down over the weekend, especially looking at the South African franchises. You're talking your Bulls, your Sharks, your Lions, your Stormers. How did things go over the weekend?
Most definitely. So I was interested in the game between Vodacom Bulls up against the Stormers.
Yes.
Where last time, remember, they had to lose by a marginal 1 point.
That's the Stormers at home.
Yes, at Ekapa, at DHL Stadium. So I felt that maybe they could have done better because of they've been out of the top 8 as a South African team. Yes. The Stormers, yes, true. So Vodacom Bulls currently are languishing third, where Glasgow Warriors is also piling on the pressure.
Yes.
In fighting with the red hot form, at least at the top with 57 points. So I was so impressed with Lintha. And then I singled out Jacob van Jacqueline Naber saying that he's doing a good job with his head coach that side. So hopefully they'll make sure that they don't choke, because of Leinster are known of choking, although they're not South Africans. They are known of choking in the quarterfinals, in the semi-finals. Hopefully they'll come up with a different story and clinch this particular United Rugby Championship. But with the Lions as well, as they're currently seated 9th, and then Stormers at number 12. You look at Vodacom Bulls, they're doing well. The Sharks as well. So they are almost there. So I think they also fancy a chance at number 4. For me, they've
Who's that, Sharks?
The Sharks, they've well improved.
Considering, look at their last season's performance.
They're inside the top 5, which impressed me. So, but looking at the game between Stormers as well as the Vodacom Bulls at Loftus Stadium, so they also lost marginally once again, 16-13. Who they managed to win as Stormers 16-13, of which I felt the Bulls could have done better, because of you are fighting the battle with the likes of Glasgow Warriors as well as the Leinster. So Veli Leroux in that game was given a yellow card, because the game was played in a waterlogged pitch.
Yeah,
the weather wasn't too good, but they did not capitalize on that, the Vodacom Bulls. So that's where I felt maybe it's just bad day in the office for them at home. Hopefully going forward they'll do well, but just unlucky. Let's see how they'll come up in the next coming match, because of when I looked into some of the fixtures that are taking place, there's another derby this weekend. The Sharks up against the Lions. Let's see.
That's in Durban
this time around. Let's see if the Sharks will consolidate because of they're number 4, the Lions are number 9. It's a battle. So for me, they'll want to consolidate, and the Lions will be saying, if we get a victory, because of they are deadlocked with 28 points with the likes of your Scarlets, your Ospreys, as well as Thomas, they'll try to sneak into the top 8. Because of some of the teams will be off actions. Let's wait and see this coming weekend. It's going to be a lovely game. But for me, I'll fancy the Sharks to do well at home.
Our co-pilot in the former chief of Motiva Peter definitely expects the Sharks to get their sweet revenge of the Gauteng boys in the form and shape of Emirates Lions as they lock horns this coming weekend down in eThekwini, Ekakasini Banana in the Shark Tank. But still with the Vodacom United Rugby Championship and the knockout stages are concerned, do Stormers and Lions stand a realistic chance to make it into the knockout stages?
Definitely, because of I'm looking into the number of points. The Sharks already are there.
Sharks and
I'm looking
Bulls.
at Stormers because they are outside the top 8 at number 12. I'm looking also at the likes of Lions. They are at number 9 because of both of them. They're 11 on points with 28 points. So which means you need to win your next coming 5 games for you to sneak into the top 8. But for me, they do stand a chance. I just wish that they finish within the top 8. 4 of them. We can see a different knockout stages come April or May.
Considering that Vodacom United Rugby Championship, since inception, we always had a South African team in the finals. DHL Stormers have done that before, 2 years on the trot. At another stage, they lost in the final, and the next season, they won it. Last season, we saw Vodacom Blue Bulls reaching the finals, and I believe they lost against the Glasgow Warriors at home in Pretoria. 4th year running. Do we stand any realistic chance to have a South African team in the final yet again, as we had been doing in the past 3 seasons?
I'll fancy the Vodacom Bulls for me. Yes, although they haven't been consistent lately, but I think they can go all the way to the final. So it showed that the knockout stages are a different rugby game, judging from how teams they pitch up and how the likes of Leinster struggled in the past, how some of the teams like Munster, they managed to win this particular title. So very, very interesting. But for me, I fancy Vodacom Bulls. Although Stormers also and Sharks should be there as well, but Vodacom Bulls for me.
Not forgetting that SLC Hollywood Bets Sharks, they did, yes, in as far as the Vodacom United Rugby Championship, they did not do well, but they won the EPCR Challenge Cup last season. Those are the Sharks. So by the look of things, it looks like Sharks, they do have the nose of winning the knockout stages. They might have that BMT. Which takes me straight to the next question. Considering that Sharks, they've got Springboks players galore in their tank. How much of the influence do you think the Springboks players influence the direction Sharks take in as far as the international games are concerned?
I think they'll think about the glory days that they had at this international level. Your Siakolis is there as well. So
your Etzebeth is there.
Even Etzebeth as well. So you can see they've got cream of players, of which I think they'll be tested in the knockout stages where can we go all the way to the final? But it looks like that. So they can go all the way to the final as well. So judging from how they try to pick up themselves. So I'm just worried about Stormers. They need to improve as well.
Our analyst Modiba Peter is a little bit concerned about the Stormers. He expects them, he wishes that they do improve. Personally, I do not blame him, considering that Stormers, they've always been in the finals 2 seasons on the trot. So definitely they do not deserve to be outside the top 8 bracket, the knockout stages bracket. They deserve to be up there with your likes of your Leinster, your defending champions, about Glasgow Warriors, Vodacom Blue Bulls, Lapana and Nabo Lapana, or Edinburgh Nabo Ospreche. Let's hope DHL Stormers, they will definitely get their footing right and get themselves in the top 8 bracket and see themselves competing in the knockout stages. That's how we come to the end of our episode 3. Let's hope you enjoyed it, and once again, thank you very much for your support. Don't forget to subscribe and share the link of this channel. Like I did say at the beginning of this discussion, please spread the word, make the circle bigger. Like they always say, the more the merrier.
Indeed, and to the F1 motor racing fans.
Oh yes, it's coming up this weekend.
In fact, next week, because this weekend is
not
just
the 8th.
The practice. The race starts on the 16th.
16th.
Yeah, Australian
GP.
You
Yes,
see,
yeah.
so
Yes,
for them, it's good news, and we'll come and dish them out. So they must just worry. They must just keep watching the Sports Geek with Sibonelo Ngcobo. We'll bring it at each unfolded.
You've just touched on the good point. Let's still add some more time in. Say Hamilton. Dump or Mercedes is with Ferrari this time around.
Very true, yes. So I think he needs to also improve because we're talking about a driver here who's won close to 106 titles.
Yes.
So
Say Hamilton for you.
Say Hamilton. So Max Verstappen, he must just make sure that he keep pushing. Hopefully he will get those titles as well, because he was just impressive, although under pressure at some point last season.
Talking of Max Verstappen being under pressure, can't we use the word choke as well?
Yes, I'll use the word choke, although I think what was the advantageous for him was that he managed to collect points. That's where
at the early stages.
That's where, because a win is considered by points that side, and also the motor cars as well, they get to win. But last season, Red Bull wasn't winners. Hopefully, Ferrari, as Lewis Hamilton, I think he will be a teammate to somebody that side. So Sergio Perez, if I'm not mistaken, they'll do well.
They will definitely do well. From us, Sports Geek with Sibonelo Ngcobo, it is bye-bye.